Hi guys, this is Paige. I want to make this video about how Jesus Christ is the greatest warrior of all time, okay? Now, you know how the Bible says, do not repay evil for evil, but overcome evil with good? This is what Jesus did, okay? He defeated Satan through righteousness and through goodness. He never violently did anything to Satan. You know what I'm saying? He defeated him through righteousness, okay? Like in my last video, I did talk about, or the one about God's justice, I talked about how, he whipped people in the temple and and he did overthrow tables and he, but that was just showing God's wrath, okay? Jesus Christ overcame Satan in a non-violent way. It was through elegance, it was through beauty, it was through the holiness of God, And when he did that in the temple, that was just a justified anger, because that shows how much God hates people, that people disrespect him. That they were doing that in his temple, and that place is supposed to be a place of prayer and worship, Okay, so that was an example of that, Okay, so I want to read some verses. This is Isaiah 53. Let's see. 6 to 12. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, as he openeth not his mouth. He was taken from prison in his judgment, and who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken, and he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death. And he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many and made intercession for the transgressors. Okay, so this talks about how Jesus bears our iniquities and justifies us through his death, and he is God's righteous servant, and how it wasn't through violence. He hath done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth, okay? So the way that he defeated Satan was he overcame evil with good. He didn't overcome Satan through evil, okay? It was like through elegance and through grace and through beauty. And he was shamed and he was beaten, and it was not. It's like when Jesus Christ was beaten and tortured, and that was not, because he is our sacrifice, he did not deserve that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So he took it for us, He took our punishment, okay? So it was like so honorable, you know what I'm saying? Like a great honor. Even though in this world he looked shamed, it was honorable because he suffered. He suffered when he is innocent. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So this is Matthew 27:11-14. And Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, Art thou the king of the Jews? And Jesus said unto him, Thou sayest. And when he was accused of the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. Then said Pilate unto him, Hearest thou not how many things they witness against thee? And he answered him to never a word, insomuch that the governor marveled greatly. Okay, so when he was accused, he didn't say anything, because this is what Father wanted, okay? Like, there were times where Jesus, of course, defended himself, but before the Pharisees, called them fools, told the truth of God, all this stuff. But when he was coming to the cross, he was like a sheep dumb before the shears. Like, he came to his slaughter, like, I mean, he did tell them, like, yes, I am the Son of God, basically. He was like, you're going to see me coming in power in the clouds. And then, like, that, the Pharisees got so angry over that. And they were like, this is blasphemy and this and that. And he just told them the truth. And he didn't fight back. He just let them do it because that's what Father wanted, He accepted Father's will, and he wanted us to be saved, of course. Okay, so this is Mark 14:65. And some began to spit on him, and to cover his face, and to buffet him, and to say unto him, Prophesy. And the servants did strike him with the palms of their hands. Okay, this is just talking about, like, what he suffered. And then this is in Matthew 15:16-20. And the soldiers led him away into the hall called Praetorium, and they called together the whole band. And they clothed him with purple, and plaited a crown of thorns, and put it about his head, and began to salute him, Hail, King of the Jews! And they smote him on the head with a reed, and did spit upon him, and bowing their knees worshipped him. And when they had mocked him, they took off the purple from him, and put his own clothes on him, and led him out to crucify him. Okay, so Jesus Christ, basically with Father, created humans. So these people, he created these people, and they basically spit in his face, you know what I'm saying? And they mocked him, I mean, that's why it says in the Bible, like, we don't have a high priest that is not unaware of our afflictions, because he was afflicted. He is aware of our sufferings because he was hurt. He cried. He was in pain. You know what I'm saying? And he went to the cross as a warrior. He wasn't like some baby, like, don't do it to me or something. He was like a strong warrior. Jesus Christ is the greatest warrior of all time. He is God, People that think he's just like, so, like not a warrior or something, that's something that Satan has perverted, because he is wonderful, okay? Like, people that know him understand that, Satan tries to make him look like he's weak and stuff, but he's really not, Okay, so this is Matthew 12:2. He's actually God. I mean, he created everything, And then this is, okay, and looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. Okay, so he despised the shame. He was naked on the cross, like he had to be on that cross. I looked it up, for 6 hours he was on there, hanging there, and people were mocking him while he was on there, and he was in a lot of pain, and that's just the physical pain. God, I think probably within those hours, God poured out his wrath on him throughout those hours, you know. I don't know exactly, but yeah, I think that's what happened too. And the pain was so bad that he was like, why did you forsake me? In the way of like saying like, the pain is so bad, you know what I mean? Because imagine this, I mean, Jesus and the Father, I mean, have always been, you know, they've always been here. And he probably never, I mean, Jesus has always been in heaven with the Father before he came to earth, and he felt pain because of that. I don't really know if he's ever felt pain before that. Like, Father allowed him to feel the pain of humanity, and all that stuff, and our weaknesses, so to bring more glory and for us to understand, or for him to understand us, and us to understand him, like, because when we suffer here, we understand what Jesus went through in a small portion. You know what I'm saying? And when he was going to the cross, he was like, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they do. You know what I mean? Jesus is our example of forgiveness and overcoming evil with good, you know? I mean, if people are accusing you and stuff, you can combat them with the Bible and all those things. But I mean, Jesus never did evil to anyone. He's righteous. He doesn't do that, you know? Okay. Let me see. And yes, he did tell the Pharisees they're wrong and stuff, but when he was going to the cross, he was like, you know, because that's the way the Father wanted it. Okay, this is Isaiah 52, 13 to 14. Behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and be very high. As many were astonished at thee, his visage was so marred, more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. Now, I'm going to show you. This is Isaiah 52:14. Here's some other versions of that verse. Just as there were many who were appalled at him, his appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any human being, and his form marred beyond human likeness. But many were amazed when they saw him. His face was so disfigured, he seemed hardly human, and from his appearance one would scarcely know he was a man. Okay. Yeah. I mean, really understand that when Jesus Christ was tortured, I mean, they pulled off of his beard, you know, like he was so disfigured they couldn't even recognize him as human. That's how tortured he was for us. I mean, Jesus Christ he's a warrior, and he's the greatest warrior of all time. And it's so sad because even like when I'm out sometimes, like when I give people tracts, like some people are just like, when they find out it's about him, it's like some people are happy about it, but some people are just like, oh. And when you truly understand what he did and how he suffered and that people don't like him, it's just heartbreaking. I mean, what he did and how he suffered. I mean, and I know it's Satan and the demons that are blinding them and stuff, that they don't like him, but it's just, it's devastating, you know, it's really devastating. Yeah. He is the greatest warrior that's ever lived, and just in general, he's the greatest warrior ever. That's who he is. When he came to overcome Satan, he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and he was weakened in his human form, but he fought Satan through the word of God, like he never lifted a fist to him. And people in the world think they can think it's kind of like, oh, that's not cool or whatever, but like the way God overcame Satan was just through beauty, through elegance, through goodness, through love, through peace, through everything that God is, and that is beautiful, and he was shamed, and when he is innocent, you know what I'm saying? And that's just like makes evil look bad, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, Jesus Christ bought us back from Satan when we have faith in him. That's why it says you are bought with a price. So glorify God in your body because you're bought. Jesus Christ bought us back from Satan when he died on the cross, and when he rose again, he overcame Satan, okay? And the way he did it was he overcame evil with good. And he is the strongest. I mean, he's just, when you really know him, it's like people don't understand who he really is, and how much he suffered. I mean, he was on there for 6 hours naked while people mocked him and spit on him. They probably spit on him when he was on the cross too, and he didn't, fight back or anything. He committed his soul to God, to the Father, and in total obedience because he loves his Father, and Jesus Christ is the perfect example for us, that he forgave and how he overcame evil with good, and how he trusted in Father, just like we're supposed to do. Yeah, so people who think that Jesus is like weak or something don't know who he really is. He made everything, and Satan is a wimp compared to, he's a wimp because he uses violence and evil, to try to win, and God uses goodness and beauty and elegance and grace and everything that is good to overcome evil, because that's what overcomes evil, goodness, and he's righteous and he is perfect, Yes, I just thought I'd make a video about that. Okay, I love you guys. Bye.